Sharon, if you did the Diploma of Counselling, you would start with the foundation of communication skills. So when we go to school, we learn maths, English, science. We never learn communication skills. We just have to have a guess at how we communicate and hope for the best. But good, solid micro skills, we call them in counselling, they're the foundation of being able to communicate with anyone at any level. So there are a lot of helping skills in there, but there are a lot of skills that you take into your own life and apply, and suddenly your communication becomes much less stressful and much easier. Now, if you're looking for a career in counselling, you would then pass those skills through to your client. Counselling then goes on, you learn the therapies. As I said, acceptance commitment therapy, cognitive behaviour is a great therapy because often we have malaligned thoughts. So we think something and that thought might not be really true. We're just thinking it because we create our thoughts after all said and done. When we create a thought about ourselves that's negative, we get a funny feeling in our tummy, we don't feel good, and our behaviour is a negative outcome. But if we replace that thought with a more positive thought, with a reframe and a more positive thought, what happens is then we feel better and the outcomes of what we're doing in the day are much more positive. So that's a really great therapy. We then learn solution-focused counselling. So you might ask a client, if everything in your life was just how you want it to be, what would be happening? What would you be doing? What you would be feeling? So by that, you are creating a future vision, and you can come back and work through some goals to help the client step to that future vision. Person-centered therapy is an Egan model, and it's developed to be very client-focused. It's not about us when we're a counsellor. It's about the client. It's about being present, congruent, honouring your client with absolutely no judgment. So think about it. If we go home and we talk to our friends or our family or something, there's often judgment and there's often advice. Counselling is advice-free. In person-centred, you are working with your client and they are coming up with the answers, purely facilitating them by using good micro skills to help them come up with the answers. So there's some great models in this counselling course that not only help you to learn to be a counsellor, but they help you in your own life. We follow on in Module 3, we look at case management, we look at helping clients make decisions, great models there for helping the client and great models for helping yourself when you're struggling with a decision. Will I, won't I, what's the answer? We also go on to learn how to deal with at-risk people and suicide and grief and loss. And usually when a client comes to counselling, there is some form of grief and loss there. It might be the loss of a marriage, the loss of a job, the loss of a pet. So many things that people come to counselling, and there's usually an element of grief and loss. So it's a really great skill because in Australia, I guess, when, say, someone loses their pet, for an example, we all say, oh, never mind, on you go, you'll be right. Well, they may not be feeling like that. And it's a matter of maybe letting them tell their story. Let them keep that memory alive for a little bit instead of just wrapping it up and saying, she'll be right, because that's a bit of a ineffective way to deal with grief and loss. So you learn all the strategies to help someone work through grief and loss in a respectful way. Suicide is a predominant problem in Australia. Depression is a terrible problem in Australia. And as counsellors, we are here to help those people work through it, to come out of that depression, to not want to take their lives, because it's a huge, huge problem, and it's one we need more counsellors for. In the final module, we get into the excitement because we do our own personal and professional development plan. Where am I now? Where am I going to do? What career do I want to be in? So even if you choose not to be a counsellor, these skills are going to help you have a better life yourself. And the beautiful ending to counselling is the somatic healing techniques, because we are holistic. We're not just mind, we're mind, body and spirit. We learn some of the body therapies that people can use to reduce anxiety and stress. Again, great with your clients, but great if you're feeling stressed yourself. And we all know in any given day, there's times when our stress levels go higher than they probably should. So you learn those strategies you can use yourself, you can use them with clients, and I even use them with my granddaughter, and they work magnificently. So that wraps the course up, and you come out with a nationally accredited diploma, and you can then decide during that course. So if you're going to do counselling, don't come in with a preconceived idea, because as you go through the journey, what you will find is you will be drawn to a certain modality. And if you're going to be a counsellor, you can't be a counsellor about everything to everyone, because we can't know all that. So you might choose to be grief and loss, you might choose to be solution focused, you might choose to be a career counsellor. There are so many opportunities within counselling, but you will find what it is that you're drawn to, and you will become passionate about that. And then quite often people will go along and do another short course on what their passion, what their niche is, and they're starting to be really set up for counselling. We also recommend counsellors should be a member of an association, because the danger is if you don't keep your professional development up in this industry, you can become stale. So we recommend our students join the Professional Counsellors Association of Australia. I'm not quite sure what their website is, but if you wanted to Google it, you would find it. Provides great workshops. There's one coming up on domestic violence, there's supervision. It's allowing you then to further your development. So we recommend you do 4 workshops a year, and you have supervision 4 times a year. That allows you to do a download of what's happening with you as your role as a counsellor, because the danger is counsellors can become overwhelmed and get a thing called compassion fatigue, because they've been so in people's problems all day and they maybe don't talk about it. That's where supervision and professional development is important. So for anyone wanting to do or ask more questions about the diploma, please give us a call at Jigsaw on 1300 943 438.